Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a different video today. I'll be answering almost every question you have about IELTS exam in this video. So without further ado, let's get into the video. How is it possible to prepare for the IELTS in just 5 days and pass as a first timer? Possible, obviously. All you need to do is take one practice test today. Cambridge IELTS 90th book. That is what I would recommend if someone is to ask me this exact same question. You can take the practice test 1 for listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So if you need someone to listen to when you are doing the speaking test, you can totally use ChatGPT. And as for the reading and listening, you can just mark it by yourself because the book comes with the audio files as well. You can mark them by yourself. At the end of the book, there is the answer key, so you can do that by yourself. I will add the marking scheme somewhere in the screen here, so you can just test that out by yourself. And as for the writing, I recommend you to use Google AI. That is what I used. What is your strategy for the reading section? Do you skim and scan or read the whole text first? Well, this is a very common question that I also had the exact same question. But remember, do not read the whole passage. Read the question first and then go to the passage and then skim and scan. You will run out of time. You might not be able to answer a few questions at the end because it is very time consuming and you have no idea. You're just reading. You don't know what are the questions they have asked in the questions. So what I'm going to tell you is same thing. Read the question first, then go to the passage, skim and scan. Very simple. You will be there. How do you differentiate between false and not given in reading? Well, I think I had the exam same question. This is where I lost marks, I believe. So I will advise you about try not to think from your common sense because let's say, for example, it is said in the passage that person A has got the most votes in the election. So in question it says the person A will be the president. So in common sense, that is true because he is the one who received most of the votes. But it was not given in the passage. So that is not given. So answer is not given. But if they say the person A got the lowest votes, then that is no, which is false. And the next question. If you are only 5 days away from your exam starting from today, then I do not recommend you to start a class because I did the exact same thing. I was about 7 days away from the exam. I registered to a class, spent so much thousands of money on this one class. At the end of the day, they gave me 300 something videos and one practice test. But the practice test can be only unlocked by watching all those 300 something videos. So I don't recommend you to go register for a class. No, if you're only 5 days away, then you have to allocate time for yourself to self-study. That's all you can do, and it's totally possible for you to pass this as a first timer. There is no specific score as a pass. It depends on which is the institute or the university that you're going to apply for. They will give you a category. Mostly likely 5.5 and 7 are the most asked band scores. What did your daily schedule look like during those 5 days? And how many hours did you practice? Well, I didn't have a specific schedule. I knew I only have 5 days, so I got my break. I started studying from the 5th day to the day 0. If you want to look at how I did it, you can go check out my previous video where I have uploaded the whole vlog of me studying for full 5 days and also the test day too. So you can go check that out if you want to. Then, next question. Did you focus more on learning the exam format or taking a full mock test? Well, first day, which means fifth day, I looked into a lot of beauty videos, more than 20, I believe, videos, and wrote the format of the exam. If it's listening, how many sections, how many questions for each section, what is the time allocated for each section, and reading the exact same thing, what is the format, writing what is the format, what are the type of questions they ask, and I got so many notes. Then 1 day or 2 days maximum, I stopped taking notes. I stopped all of those things. Starting from the second day, I moved to papers where I need to understand that theory is not everything. Even if you know the theory, still you need to pass your exam, but the practice is what is the most necessary thing you need. So the book recommendations, Cambridge IELTS 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20th book are what I'm going to recommend you. That is the exact same book series I did, because we do not recommend you to do the first or second or somewhere like that lower than the 15, because that is old syllabus. Now the question patterns have changed. They have shifted in a different way. So it's better you go for 18, 19, and 20th book. That is more likely the exam format. I did from 16 to 20. I found the 20th book a day before the exam, so I couldn't do much. I only did one practice paper from the 20th book, but I did 60th, 70th, 80th, and 90th book, every single question within these 5 days of time. So you can do that. You can first do the papers. Do not mind about the score, because my first listening score was 6.5 and my reading was 5.5 or 6.5 too, but my writing was 5. But that was fine, because then I marked that using the Google AI and ChatGPT. They gave me recommendations on how to improve it to a 7. But my score that the university asked me to show is 6.5. So I was aiming for a 6.5. Right? So I was aiming for a 6.5, and somehow luckily I could improve it to a 7, and the exam day is also a 7. So if you get a 5, then you can see what are the questions you're going to get wrong. Most likely the punctuations, grammar, or spelling mistakes. That's what is going to lower your score more than the knowledge issues. Because if you have knowledge issues, you won't be taking exam in 5 days, right? So that's what I need to talk about this question. Then next one. So let's talk about speaking secrets. Well, I don't know if it's secrets, but let's move to the question. Does my local accent affect my IELTS speaking score? Well, not really. As long as the examiner can understand you, then there is no issue in your accent. So, no issue. You need to speak clearly and fluently. That is what matters. Next one. What should I do if I freeze or do not understand the examiner's question in part 2, the cue card? Well, I think if you are not to understand the question, you can try reading the question one more time, more slowly, trying to understand the keywords. If you still do not understand the cue card, you can ask your examiner if it is possible for them to make it more simple for you. Just ask them to simplify the question for you. I think they will help you with that. So for me, I got to talk about a famous person who I had to talk about. Okay. So I had to talk about a famous person who learned something without the help of a teacher. So my criteria was I need to talk about who is this person, why they need to learn that by themselves, and why no teacher. What is the thing they learn as well. So at the end, there is this long word you need to read also, which says explain your opinion about this. So I talk about very common topic. I think nowadays we all know about. I talk about RM, how he learned English, which is a very common topic, which is a very famous topic worldwide. So I just went with that and it went pretty well. So you will get a simple topic. Don't worry. If you are too freezed, you have 1 minute before starting the actual speech. So just take a deep breath. Try to check the summary, like maybe make a summary. What I'm trying to say is summarize your whole answer. Okay, so let's say you understood the question. Now you don't have the data that you need to talk about. So very simple step. You need to remember all the criteria that they have given you. Do not look at the answer sheet. Like the person I'm going to talk about is X, Y, Z. The thing they learn is this. Don't do that. Instead, try to remember the first 3 criteria, or whatever the number of criteria you were given, and remember that from your mind, then speak. Just do not look at the cue card. Try not to. If you are to look at it, that's fine, but try not to. Is it better to use big, complex vocabulary words or just speak naturally and fluently? Well, it depends on the person. If you are aiming for a 9 or 8.5, then you definitely have to use complex words. But if you are only aiming for a 5.5, 6.5 or a 7, then you can go with the flow. But still, to get a 7, you have to use maybe few complex words. I recommend you to use 3 to 5 complex words if you are aiming for a 7. And the most important thing is you have to speak fluently. You need to be flawless. Don't show them you are trying to find the words. Then it might lower your score. All you need to do is try to be fluent as much as possible and just imagine you are in front of your friend talking about something, yapping or gossiping. Just doesn't matter if the examiner is smiling at you or not smile at all. Just try to be comfortable with whatever the instance you are at. Because I had a local examiner for me in my speaking test, but the girl beside me had an Indian examiner and she was very worried. She was telling me how the lady was not smiling at her, and she was like, if you are going to get the same examiner, try to smile more and don't show that you are scared. For me, I got a local examiner. From the beginning of the exam to the end of the exam, she had this big smile on her face, which is even more scarier. So I think it doesn't matter they smile or they do not smile. Just put a smile on your face the whole time. Don't show that you are scared. Don't show anything that you are nervous, anxious, or anything. Just go with the flow. You'll be fine. Try to be calm, fluent, and speak flawlessly. If you do not remember complex words, don't force yourself to memorize them because you have only 5 days. Try to remember 1 word each day. For instance, if you are to use bat, then instead of using the word bad, you can go for adverse effects or detrimental repercussions, something like that. Simple daily words, some words that you in daily life. You'll be fine. Next one. Question. How do you stay focused for the entire listening section without getting distracted? Well, I got distracted. I couldn't write about 5 answers because I got distracted. I missed about 2 questions in section 3 and 3 or 2 questions in section 4. So altogether 5. I can't remember how much in both sections, but altogether 5. But I did mark something. I think they're wrong. So where it went wrong is I was looking at the timer. So I recommend you do not, right? I repeat, do not look at the timer. You will find because test is going to end right on the right 30 minutes of time. You don't have to look at the timer because the audio plays once they give you 20 seconds or something seconds time to read the next question before jumping into the next section of the listening. So try not to look at the time. And the next biggest mistake we all make, which I made that I don't want you to make, is do not read the whole thing if you do not have time. Because in section 4, I was supposed to read the whole passage, but I couldn't. So I was spending more time to read the end few questions while the audio is playing. So the audio was playing and I couldn't find the answer for the first 3 questions. That is where it went wrong because I was looking at the last question. Somehow I found where it stopped, where I could find the gap, where I could mark the answer from now on. That was lucky, but if it was someone else, you might not be able to find where this position of the answer now is. So if the audio starts playing, stop reading wherever you are, whatever the question you have to read further, just move to the question 1 and listen where you need to write the answers for. So that is what I need to tell you about this. Do not make the dumb mistake I have done. Next one, what are the specific essay structures and templates needed to score a Band 7 in writing? Well, we have different type of essays. I will add them in here. So if you have to practice each and every one of them, at least one essay for each part. Let's say you are asked, let's say you need to write about an opinion essay. Then before going to the exam, you need to write an opinion essay. That way you can understand where you forget the details or the data and how you need to improve, things like that. So that is why that's what I recommend you to do. It would be the same for anyone if you ask to. And next selection. The most asked, most needed questions now. Test format and types. Question 1. Academic or general training? Well, academic IELTS is for students who are expecting to move for universities overseas. And general is for people who are about to move overseas for work. So if you're a student, it's the IELTS academic that you need to take. Computer or paper-based? I did computer-based test. So I recommend computer-based test too. In my country, we don't have paper-based test. That's why I had to take computer-based. But then I realized it was very efficient, very easy to follow. Structure and everything is going to be the exact same. So I recommend you to take the IELTS computer-based exam. But it's totally fine. It depends on you and the facilities you have in your country. So the thing is, I got my results within 24 hours after the exam, but the ideal time for IELTS computer-based exam is 1 to 3 days, but when it comes to paper-based exam, they take quite a long time. I don't know a specific time, but quite a long time. So it's computer-based, I guess. Depends on you. You can choose as you please. Next one. Speaking section. Okay. Question types. Well, you get 3 types of questions. First one is short answers. They might ask you about education, work, stuff like that. They asked me about education, work, and buildings. I mean, that sounds crazy, right? They asked me, do I like buildings? Do I have many buildings in my hometown? Why I don't have many buildings in my hometown? What is the building I would love to see in the future if I get a chance to? What kind of building I want to live in the future? Some sort of questions like that. So I recommend you do not wait until you find the perfect answer, because you're not going to find the perfect answer. You're at the exam, you might find the perfect answer. I hope you will find. But see, if they're asking about what type of building you would love to live in the future, and if you go like, I love to live in an apartment with this many windows, this many doors, things like that, then that sounds like you have studied this, you have memorized this. Instead, try to be natural. Don't get scared. You'll be fine. They are not trying to get the perfect answer from you. They want to see that you can speak in English. So it won't be a matter as long as you can be fluent and flawless. I think I gave something, I gave my answer something like, I would love to live in an apartment all by myself. I want few windows, but I prefer living all by myself. Something like that I can remember. So it's like, I was speaking mostly about how the place needed to be calm and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter about the architecture. You need to talk about from your perspective. So that is what it is. So you need to give short answers. But remember, if you just start the question, just start the answering the question, and your examiner is starting another question right away, then consider it as a good thing, because my examiner, she started question even before I finish one. It is said we get 40 something seconds to answer the question, but even before 20 seconds, she started a new question. So that is because you are giving right answer. You are being fluent. So I recommend you start right away. Once you finish the question, try to answer fluently, flawlessly. Don't get scared just because she interrupts you and start the next question. That means you are doing great. Then we have the second type of question, which is our part 2, Q part. They will give you a question. Under the question, they will give you a few criteria that you need to talk about. And there is the large sentence at the end, very long sentence at the end. It is basically about you explaining your idea about this, your opinion about this. So you have to talk about that for 2 minutes, and you will get 1 minute to prepare your answer. Then in section 3, in speaking, it is most likely deeper discussion type of question. I was asked about studies. My exam, she asked me about education for my section 3. She asked me about the rise of adults or old people starting universities at a very old age, why they do that, what are the benefits they gain from that, what we can learn from them, stuff like that. One of my questions, she asked me so many such questions, like when I say they can go to higher positions, right? They can get promotions by studying more. And then she was like, if they are not to learn more, you are saying if someone is not educated enough, they can go to higher places in the society. I was shocked. I had no idea. I mean, I feel like I gave her the wrong answer. I was scared that she asked me, but it's just normal. Then I got to know that is how they're going to test you if you're going to start with your own answer or you're going to change it right away. So that is a trap. Don't fall for it. If they ask about it, just stick into your answer. Then to just interrupt you most of the times, don't get scared. That means you're doing good. So that is pretty much of all the questions I have in here. If you have more questions than this, then feel free to add a comment below. I will reply you as soon as I can. Best of luck with your IELTS exam. I hope you will get the best results possible.